Hey, today on the Red Menace channel, I'm going to review Dungeon Siege 2, a game I've recently been playing. And you're asking why am I playing Dungeon Siege 2? Just taking a break from normal everyday games that I play. So I'm going to start off with kind of the good things that I've noticed about the game, and one of them is the potions. I've always enjoyed the potions in Dungeon Siege. Dungeon Siege 1 and Dungeon Siege 2, it's here, this heals, 500 HP. That's great. There's no waste unless you're healing beyond what is required. Like my character, the dual wielder, can actually generate a bunch of HP just by hitting enemies. In this one, there's more replayability. Like, this is my character I beat the game with, and I can now do a second playthrough if you choose to. It's not 2005 anymore. There's a ton of games out there that you can play and beat that are probably much better than this one. They've added a bunch of new skills and new special attacks, which is it's pretty good over the first one, where you pretty much just chose weapon, what weapon or what magic. So it's a vast improvement that you can dual wield, or you can do things with magic. You can prefer summoning or healing or whatnot. So much improved over the first one. The autocast of spells. This is kind of a good thing or a bad thing, in my opinion, where it's good that I can automatically cast spells. I have one cast now. That's just, Wind Embrace. But there are a few times when your spell will run out and you'll cast it in the middle of battle, and that is kind of annoying. That you'll just you'll break combat just to heal up, and whereas it's not game breaking, sometimes it's just annoying when, as you see, like, I'm being attacked by like 30 different things, and I need to keep fighting them, not casting something that's going to increase my dodge by 4%. So those were kind of the few good things that I found about the game. This game pretty much is a mindless hack and slash. The story is not that great. It's better than the first one, but that is not saying much. The first one didn't have that great of a story either, but they made a movie out of the first one. So it kind of more reminds me of Suikoden 2 story, where sword and shield meet, and, one has to win. But in this one, there's, if you've played the game, some things go on, things happen. I'm not going to spoil the story, but it's not, the story is not really great. I think some of the areas of the game are vastly unbalanced. As you see me now running around, I beat the game with this character, so I have some of the better armor and stuff for this level of playthrough, but you see how much damage they're actually able to do to me. And this is some parts of the game where this has happened more frequently. Like the last boss of this game couldn't damage me, just because I can heal so many hit points, at a time. One-on-one, there have been very few bosses that have actually been able to deal a significant amount of damage to me. So I think that part's broken, and there's other times when there's some enemies who are probably more powerful than they should be running around with other packs of monsters. You see, just a moment ago when I was running through the mines, there's 400, 500 enemies running around all over the place. And this seems to be kind of the way the game operates. They try to force you to play in a party, whereas I'm just playing solo. I think if I would have went summoner instead of dual wield, I probably would have had a much easier time because I can just summon stuff and then just run away. I think that leads me kind of to my next point. There's, at the beginning of the game when you have crappy gear, and this is probably more true of every hack and slash game, once you get the gear, the game difficulty drastically decreases. And that's something that I've found especially true with this one. Once I was able to start getting, the on hit restore HP gear, enemies immediately lost their difficulty. And, a lot of the gear I think is not great, but I think that's true of every hack and slash. But at least in like Torchlight, and I think even Diablo 2, I've not played Diablo 3, that there's a way to gamble. Because I have tons of money now, and I would rather gamble on equipment than just having it sit in the bank or losing it when I die. Whereas the nice feature that I get, I can summon my corpse when I die, but it costs so much money, and I'd rather be spending that on gambling gear all the time. This is maybe more of a nitpicky thing. They changed the controls from the first one where you had 1, 2, 3, 4, and that was what you had equipped, and they changed it to where you can have 4 magics and then your weapon. I'm not a huge fan of it because I have to click on things now, breaking combat, because I don't know the shortcut. It's just more, I guess, tedious. And as you're kind of seeing, my next 2 points are going to come up. There's a lot of movement in Dota where either people run away or you have to adjust when you're fighting someone. There shouldn't be that much adjustment when you're fighting someone. You should be able to stay roughly in the same place and attack them. Whereas here it's move, 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 move. And it's not all the time, but it's just more annoying than anything because they're still attacking you while you're adjusting your character stance. Like here, they're standing on top of each other. But sometimes, they'll move around to weird places, and it's just, I didn't see a need for it. And another conversation is about people going into rage. I don't mind people going into rage. It seems like the designers lacked some thought, because now they have characters that go into rage when you're using a potion. That to me is just, you're trying to make the player upset. There's no real purpose behind it other than, oh, he's healing, put him in rage so that he can I just don't get it. I mean, I just, to me, it's a lack of thinking. Someone who attacks with their weakness, they can get enraged or anything. I honestly just think it's poor programming and poor thinking. I think one of the last things that I'm going to say about Dungeon Siege 2 is the respawn rate. So there are parts in the game where it's pretty far from teleporter to teleporter. And what happens is the enemies respawn behind you. And sometimes those enemies respawn fairly quickly. So I had an accidental death close to the end of the game, like before the end of the game, and I was too cheap to try to get my corpse. So what happened? Enemies had respawned, and I had no gear, so I either had to run through them or spend the money to get my corpse, which 25% is a little hefty for a revive, especially when you have a ton of money. And I know old RPGs did 50%, but you were revived at the nearest church or inn with, you know, all of your gear. And it seems at other points, you know, where if it takes a while, the monsters will respond to. And yeah, you can always summon the town portal and go back, you know, just pop one out and just go back. But you're not going to do that, you know, after every battle. So to kind of wrap this up, Dungeon Siege 2 took me about 30 hours to play solo. I don't know if that's good or I don't know if that's bad for solo play. This is my first time playing it, and probably after this video is edited and posted, it's going to be, you know, uninstalled. It's not that great of a game. It'd probably be more fun if you had more people playing it, you know, multiplayer. But I don't know if multiplayer is even around anymore, because you see that at this point in the game, not a lot of things are hurting me. And, you know, I'm just pretty much just holding down the right click button. So, do I recommend this game? My criteria for recommendation is probably a little different than most. My criteria is this game, if I was teaching a class on RPGs, which I've played pretty extensively for, I'd say probably close to 30 years now, starting back at the Nintendo. If I was teaching a class on RPGs, would this be included? And my answer for this one is no. Simply because I think there's other games that do this better. There's Diablo, there's Torchlight. You know, there's so many other games that I think, if I was wanting them to learn about hack and slashes, that better serve the genre than Dungeon Siege. Now, not to say that Dungeon Siege wasn't kind of enjoyable. It's just more mindless. And I think that anything, it's just me at this point. There's really no tactics. I'm just right-clicking, and then when too many enemies or a strong enemy comes across, I just blast them with my special attack. So I really don't. It's not high on the recommended list. But I'm not going to tell you guys really what to play. And if you do play it, I hope you enjoy it. Hope you guys can get it for cheap too. That's what I bought it in a package, so it didn't cost that much, so I didn't lose much. But thank you guys for watching the video and listening to me rant about how not to play Dungeon Siege 2, and I hope to catch you guys in the next video.